Ken Hines, Color and Neon. Um, the date is 1/22 of 25. I've got a Veep Green bottle here that we're going to be pumping. So we're going to start with putting a little mercury in. So this is the mercury inside this bottle. Mercury ball right here. We just put a little bit in there, just a dot. Then I take my blow hose. Should have had this in here. Let me blow this in. Okay. All right, I'm going to weld the unit to the manifold here. So that popped off. I don't have to use a file to cut that piece. So we're going to weld that on right now. Blow, stretch it, let it go. Okay. Okay, this is 25,000 volts up to 1,000 milliamps, which would be an amp, but we run about 600 milliamp on this to get it hot. So what we're doing here, the process is to actually purify the inside of the tube so that when we put our neon and argon in the tube, they're 99% pure. We will have a tube that will last for 20 years or better if this process is done correctly. Get a clean piece of paper here.
And Ken, what is that stuff you put in between the two?
That is mica. It's a mineral, and what that does is it keeps the 25,000 volts going through here. If it gets too much pressure, it'll jump from the glass to glass. It'll create holes and crack it. You got to redo it then. So the mica is an insulator. It keeps it from doing that. Thank you for that, Dustin. Okay, we're gonna fire up the vacuum pump. So what we're going to do is pull a vacuum on this tube. Doing that creates, pulled enough atmosphere out where we can actually strike an arc with this 25,000 volts inside the tube. So it's probably there. We'll give it a bump. Nope, still not there. Not quite there. I've got a Jacob's ladder over here that it pops to if this won't light up. All right, it's being fussy. So this is a butyl phthalate filling gauge that was just bubbling there. So it's pulling all the air out of the system so that I can create an arc inside that tube. There we go. So we've pulled the atmosphere out of this tube, and it's down to 24 bar or 10 to the -3. And there's several different other tables for calculating vacuum. I don't have any electronic vacuum gauges. I just use my butyl phthalate. Tells me everything I need to know, and the way my tubes look tells me everything I need to know. So what I did was the butyl phthalate gauge rises as this heats up, so I know how much pressure is inside that tube. So when it gets to about 2, then I pull the vacuum back out. And what I'm going to do is actually, I'm going to backfill it, and watching the butyl phthalate gauge, I'm barely going to put some natural gas inside the tube as a flushing gas. So I've got some in there now. We're going to hit it, and we're going to bring the electrodes to where they're cherry red, and the paper will be burnt. That means that we've burned up everything inside that tube, and then we're going to pull everything out. Okay, there we go. So now we're going to open the vacuum and leave it there for about 5 minutes. evacuating, then we're going to come back and backfill it.